Under the blazing crystal chandelier, perfume and silk shimmered like liquid money. Victor was bending his head, fingers brushing the clasp of the necklace he had just fastened around Lillian's throat. The intimacy of the gesture drew a soft chorus of envious sighs from the circle that orbited them. My iPhone lit up on cue. A banner slid across the lock screen. Incoming wire, $10 billion, ***. An instant later the mail icon dinged, message sent. Subject line, **divorce agreement, Stella. I thumbed the screen dark, lifted the cup of Earl Grey that had gone cold an hour ago, and drained it in one swallow. Victor, our 8-year marriage ends here. His phone buzzed while he was still bathing in starlight. Lillian's worship, the crowd's flattery, both scraped away the boredom success had lacquered over him. He flicked his gaze downward, idly, expecting another stock price alert. Instead, a wire receipt, and one new email. Sender, Stella. His brows pinched, annoyance flicking like a whip. Another text ordering him home? Tonight of all nights. Their 8th anniversary. He was done with that script. Done with her face, serene as still water, done with the unchanging warmth of the house, done with the perfect mask she wore labeled wife and mother. He craved novelty, adrenaline. Enter Lillian, stage right, cue applause. He tossed the iPhone onto the velvet banquette, lifted his champagne, and smiled at Lillian with practiced tenderness. Ignore it, darling. The night is young. She ducked her head, cheeks pink, triumph glittering in her lashes. The surrounding predators picked up the cue, wolf whistling approval. The air grew hotter, louder. Half an hour and 3 flutes later, Victor, reeking of vintage Cristal and Lillian's jasmine, remembered the missed call. He hit redial. Stella, what stunt is this? I told you I have business tonight. The words carried the casual condescension of a man who believes the world waits on his convenience. From my end, my voice came flat as unwaved slate. Read the email, Victor. What email? I'm busy. Call me after you've looked at it. Click. Dial tone. Victor's expression curdled. Her. She grew claws, hung up on me. He snorted, convinced this was only a sharper version of the same old game. Still, he thumbed open the envelope icon. Bold black headline nailed to the display. Divorce agreement. His pupils shrank. He scrolled, fast, until the asset split clause stopped him cold. I was walking away from the bulk of our joint fortune, claiming only the portion stipulated in the prenup, plus the $10 billion he had once, half drunk and half serious, called my redemption bonus. Stella, without you I'd have died in that gutter. Take it, it's yours, he'd laughed, slurring over a bottle of Macallan. Now I had taken it. The bank alert was the smoking gun. At the bottom of the document waited my electronic signature. Clean, swift, Dylan. Victor's breathing turned shallow. He shot to his feet so hard the table lurched. Claret geysered across Lillian's white silk. CEO. Jamie shrieked. He didn't hear her. He sprinted from the ballroom, stabbing redial as he ran. No answer. Once, twice, 10 times. The automated voicemail laughed in his ear with mechanical politeness. He roared home, thumb jabbed against the biometric lock. Stella. Get out here, now. The house answered in darkness. No warm sconce glow, no soft jazz from hidden speakers, only the thermostat's chill exhale. He thundered up the stairs, threw open the master suite door. Empty. His side of the wardrobe stood immaculate. Mine gaped, a hollow rectangle. No scent of my perfume, no rustle of silk. On the vanity lay a single sheet, the children's transfer notice from Riverside to a school he'd never heard of. Victor's knees wobbled. He caught the doorframe to keep from folding. Finally, it penetrated. This wasn't a tanquum. I was gone. For good. I sat in the leased penthouse overlooking the river, watching 10,000 lights wink like distant shareholders. The serviced apartment building had guard-gate depth. Victor would never reach me here. Beside my feet rested 2 small suitcases, Logan's and Lily's. *free. The sigh that escaped me felt like the first full breath since I'd signed the marriage certificate 8 years ago. 10 years earlier I had awoken inside the pages of this novel as Stella. I'd dragged the battered, feral-eyed boy named Victor out of an alley reeking of antiseptic and desperation. I'd supplied the light, the warmth, the strategy, I'd walked him through every landmine of his past and helped him reclaim the empire stolen from him. I'd believed I could rewrite the author's verdict, turn the obsessive, yander villain into a husband, a father, a whole man. Naive. Once the last competitor had been ruined and his net worth cracked 11 digits, the halo of salvation evaporated. Boredom became his cancer. He mocked my predictability, my monotonous concern. He collected 20-year-old arm candy the way other men collect vintage cars, each one a slightly different shade of Lillian. They giggled, clung, fluttered. I merely asked, "What time will you be home for dinner?" The final straw landed on our anniversary, the day I'd once pulled him back from death's ledger. I had reserved the rooftop restaurant, baked his favorite birthday cake with my own hands, watched Logan and Lily paint tiny hearts on a card. 5 o'clock, 6, 7, 8, 9. No Victor. No call. Then the push notification. Riverdale tonight, Vance CEO buys rising star Lillian's $6 million necklace at charity gala. The photograph showed him cupping her throat exactly the way he used to cradle my face. Something inside me snapped, clean and irretrievable. Enough. I deleted the reservation, scraped the cake into the trash, and activated the plan I had rehearsed in my head every night for 2 years. Call the lawyer, send the agreement I had drafted line by line. Execute the wire transfer coded to the clause only he and I knew. Pack 1 suitcase each for Logan and Lily, slide their transfer papers into the front pocket. Walk out before the grandfather clock finished its 10th chime. Total elapsed time, 53 minutes. My pulse never spiked, my palms never sweated. Love had evaporated, so had hatred. Victor was simply a business partner whose contract had expired. The iPhone on the coffee table vibrated like a trapped moth, Victor's name pulsing. I held the power button until the screen went black. Silence at last. In the children's room Logan and Lily slept, lashes fanned over baby cheeks, small hands still curled around travel-size stuffed whales. I knelt, kissed each warm forehead. "Mommy's taking you to the next chapter," I whispered. The next morning, while the sky was still a bruised grey, Victor began pounding on the door like a madman. "Stella, open up. I know you're in there." The building's soundproofing was excellent, yet the housekeeper's panicked call still dragged me awake. "Mrs. Vance, Mr. Vance is downstairs. He looks awful." Awful? I'd seen him at his best, whatever this was barely registered. Calmly, I answered, "Tell security to handle it. If he keeps harassing us, call the police." I hung up and went to make breakfast for the kids. Logan shuffled out rubbing his eyes. 2 years older than his sister, he already carried himself like a little adult. "Mom, is Dad outside?" "Yeah." "Is he going to lose it again?" I stroked his hair, throat tightening. Over the years Victor's moods had swung so wildly even the children catalogued them. "Sweetheart, from now on it's just you, me, and Lily, okay?" Logan hesitated, then nodded hard. "Okay. I only want you." Lily dashed over and hugged my leg. "I want Mommy too. Not Daddy. Daddy's mean, he yells at you." I pulled both of them close, eyes stinging. "See, Victor. This is the seed you planted." After breakfast I drove them to their new international school. The headmaster met us personally, everything was arranged. Watching their curious smiles in the new environment, I finally exhaled. Meanwhile Victor threw a fit outside the apartment until security escorted him away. He returned to the Vance estate and felt fear crawl deep into his bones for the first time. No steaming breakfast, no pressed shirts, no sticky note reminding him to take his meds. The whole place felt like a tomb. He tried calling the kids only to find their smartwatches unpaired. He thought of storming the school until he realized I'd switched them somewhere he'd never guess. Not until this moment did he understand how completely his life unraveled without me. He stormed into the office, and his secretary nervously handed him a file. "CEO, there's an issue with the West Development site. Counterpart just replaced their lead and wants to reopen talks." Victor waved impatiently. "Handle it. Who's the new head? Make him come see me." The secretary flinched. "The new head is Stella." Victor's bloodshot eyes snapped up, a cornered beast. "Say that again. Estella. Your wife. Oh, did I forget to mention? My first day on the job was spent stealing your project." Victor stared as if he could devour her. Only then did it hit him, I wasn't sulking. I was here to destroy him. Chapter 4. I sat in a sun-flooded corner office overlooking the midtown skyline. Across the desk lounged Lucas, founder of the firm and Victor's longtime rival. CEO. Lucas grinned like a fox. Can't believe Victor let a heavyweight like you walk. Welcome to Nova Capital. I smiled coolly. Alex, I'm just another employee. Just another employee, with a wrecking ball. 10 years in this story world, 8 spent as a housewife, yet every financial artery of the plot stayed sharp in my head. Victor's empire was built on swallowing a handful of keystone deals, and the West parcel was the very first domino. Now I would yank it away. CEO is too modest. Lucas slid a folder over. Everything on West. Victor thinks it's in the bag, what are our odds? I opened it, shut it. 100%. My confidence came from omniscience. I knew every card he held, every weak nerve in his negotiators. While he still pictured me as the woman who once simmered him soup. Before this book ever hijacked my life, I had been a top-tier Wall Street analyst. He lost this war before it began. That afternoon we walked into the conference room. Victor occupied the head seat, face storm black. The instant he saw me, shock, fury, and a flash of dread braided in his eyes. Stella, what the hell are you playing at? He growled, a lion with a thorn in its paw. I ignored him, took my place, and smiled at his team. Good afternoon. I'm Stella, project lead for Nova Capital. I'll be your counterpart today. Hey, X, long time no see, let's talk shop. His executives traded glances, unable to square this razor-edge woman with the docile Mrs. Vance of gossip columns. Victor's fists cracked under the table. This is a private matter, negotiation is off. I laughed. CEO, 2 corrections. First, we're about to be divorced. Second, this is business. If you jeopardize your shareholders' profit over personal issues, I doubt the Vance board will applaud. 1 sentence, checkmate. Color drained, surged, mottled his face. Talks began. I gave no quarter, dismantling their stance point by point, profits, risks, optics. Until Victor's people wilted. I dropped my final bid 5 points below his ceiling, clinched with sweeter add-ons for the landowner. The client's rep slapped the table. CEO, we have a deal. I stood, offered a professional handshake, smile pinned in place. Applause rippled. Only Victor sat frozen, a statue in a graveyard of his own making. As I passed, he seized my wrist. You hate me this much? His rasp trembled. I peeled his hand away as if brushing off dirt. CEO, don't flatter yourself. Meeting his eyes, I enunciated every word. I don't hate you. You're simply not worth the emotion. Losing the West site opened the gates to Victor's nightmares. Back at headquarters, shareholders howled. His seat as president wobbled. At home, the chaos metastasized. 3 nannies quit in rapid succession. Some driven off by his volatility, others by the kids' silent defiance. Logan refused meals. Lily sobbed herself awake each night begging for me. 2 bright, gentle children gaunted under his care. He imported Lillian, hoping she could play new. She lasted 1 apple, nearly slicing her finger, and 1 bedtime story book flung back by Lily shrieking, "You're not my mommy, bad woman." Lillian buried herself in his chest, weeping. For the first time, Victor offered no comfort. Watching her clumsy pantomime of me, he felt only blinding irritation. Quinn, exhausting just to watch. His mind flooded with images of me, how effortlessly I'd kept their world turning. I peeled Logan's apple, the skin coiling off in 1 unbroken ribbon. I read Lily bedtime stories, my voice always soft and musical. Those everyday rituals he once sneered at now stabbed him, each memory a blade twisting deeper. Only then did he realize Stella was never a status symbol, never a replaceable Mrs. Vance. She was the soul of this house. Remove the soul, and the walls cave in. He began to hunt for me like a madman. He camped outside my office, waited outside my apartment. I told security to bar the door, told reception to say the CEO was in meetings. The roses he sent landed untouched in the trash. The hundreds of texts he fired off remain unread. One night he stood beneath my building until dawn. When I arrived the next morning, he was slumped against his car, unshaven, bloodshot, suit crumpled like pickled cabbage. Every trace of the golden prince was gone. I walked past without a glance. He lunged and caught my wrist. "Stella, talk to me." His voice was raw. "For the kids, let go." I cut him off, ice cold. "I won't. Come home. We'll start over, okay?" His grip was steel. "CEO," I looked straight at him. "Do you know the difference between a dog and a human?" He froze. "When a master abandons it, a dog wags its tail and runs back." I spoke each word like a nail. "I'm human." I wrenched free and strode through the revolving door. Behind me came a trapped animal snarl he couldn't swallow. Lillian's sweet days were over. She'd thought driving me out would let her step into the title of Mrs. Vance. Naive girl. What she got wasn't Victor's love, it was an emptied shell, violent and short-fused. He stopped taking her anywhere. He came home, locked himself in the study, replayed old photos and clips of me until the screen burned his retinas. Drunk out of his mind, he chanted my name like a prayer. When Lillian tried to comfort him, he flung her off. "Get lost. Don't touch me. Who do you think you are? You're not fit to breathe her air." His bloodshot eyes were pools of loathing. Terror crawled under her skin. She ditched the silk dresses that resembled mine, shelved the perfume I favored. Each reminder sent him into a fresh rage. He'd grab her throat and hiss, "Why ape her? You'll never be her." At last she understood, she'd never been a substitute. She was a prop, useful only to poke my jealousy. Props, once useless, go in the garbage. She refused to bow out. She blew her savings bribing a tabloid hack. Vance CEO cheating? Mistress moves into mansion, wife kicked to curb. Idiot, she thought tabloid pressure would force Victor to crown her. The story detonated across the city. Vance Group's stock price nosedived. But the fallout was the opposite of what she'd prayed for. Victor's mother Eleanor, the matriarch who'd sneered at my roots yet relied on my spreadsheets, stormed the estate. She wasn't hunting for me, she hunted Lillian. Smack. A slap that rattled Lillian's vision. "Shameless tramp. Who gave you the gall to smear the Vance name?" Eleanor's finger jabbed like a dagger. "Look in a mirror. You think you'll waltz into this family? Dream on." In front of the entire staff, Eleanor cursed her horse, then ordered 2 bodyguards to hurl Lillian's luggage onto the driveway. "Drag her out. Show your face near Victor again and I'll break your legs." They hauled her away like roadkill. She lay in the dirt, watching the iron gates grind shut. Total defeat. And Victor, the architect of it all, watched without a flicker. When Eleanor finished, he said softly, "Mother, are you done? If so, help me get Stella back." Eleanor almost fainted from rage. "Have you lost your mind? That woman cuckolded you, she stole your deal and you want her back." "She never cheated," he answered, hollow, stubborn. "I wronged her. I'll bring her home. She's mine, no one else can have her." He stared into the night, obsession glowing like coals. The annual Starlight Charity Gala, Riverdale's C&B Altar, sent my invitation to Stella, managing partner, Paul Aries Capital. I chose a backless scarlet gown, slit and shoulder blades bared rowan, nothing like the pastel Mrs. Vance of 8 years. The moment I stepped into the ballroom, every gaze snapped toward me like magnets. Shock, curiosity, hunger. What? Never seen a woman weaponize a career. I cruised the room, champagne lifted, trading smiles with hedge fund monarchs. Lucas appeared at my elbow. "You're on fire tonight." A rose dipped in thorns. "Thanks, CEO. Victor's here, corner table." "His eyes haven't left you." I followed the cue. There he was, hollowed cheeks, suit hanging loose, a glass he never drank tilting in his hand. His red-rimmed stare crawled over my skin as if measuring what he'd lost. I cooled my lungs on the terrace. "Stella." His rasp rode the night air. I didn't turn. He came closer, reeking of whiskey. "You look stunning. More than ever. Spare me, and yes, Morgan is a girl's best cosmetic. Something you need?" I kept my voice arctic. "Can we go back?" he asked, small, afraid. I faced him. "What do you think, Victor?" My indifference was a scalpel. He lurched forward, hands reaching. "Give me one more chance, I swear I'll." I flinched back, revulsion raw on my face. That reflex hit harder than any word. His arm hung in mid-air, fingers trembling. Color drained from his cheeks. "You despise me," he whispered. I said nothing. My expression signed the verdict. "Yes. Your touch sickens me." Guests drifted onto the terrace, sensing theater. Victor's pride shredded under their gaze. He reeled back, stumbling, and fled. A stray dog dumped by its owner, tail between legs, swallowed by the glittering dark. The divorce trial between Victor and me officially opened. Just as I'd expected, he tried to use custody of the kids as leverage. His attorney stood in court and cast me as a heartless woman who'd abandoned husband and children for her career. "Your Honor, my client Victor has always loved his family." Yet Stella filed for divorce without warning, took the children, and deprived their father of visitation. For a father who longs for an intact family, this is unspeakably cruel. Great acting, what a waste that he never went to Hollywood. I sat at the defendant's table, face blank. When my lawyer's turn came, he wasted no time and produced a thick stack of evidence. "Your Honor, here are the plaintiff's records for the past year, 187 nights he never came home. Here are photos of the plaintiff in intimate situations with multiple women, date and location stamped. Here are his ticket stubs proving he vacationed abroad while his children were sick. Lastly, here is a psychological assessment of the 2 minor children prepared by a licensed clinic." He handed the report to the judge. The assessment states the children have lived under chronic emotional volatility from their father, producing mild anxiety and social withdrawal. Both state clearly they prefer to live with their mother. Every piece of evidence landed like a slap across Victor's face. He sat at the plaintiff's table, body trembling. He'd always assumed he could fool around, then saunter home whenever he pleased. He never imagined I'd documented every sin. After reviewing the report, the judge's expression darkened. He looked at Victor. "Plaintiff, what is your response to this psychological evaluation?" Victor opened his mouth, but no words came. What could he say? Explain how he'd skipped Lily's kindergarten show to rendezvous with Lillian? Or how he'd screamed at a crying Logan because he was in a bad mood? Those forgotten moments now became nails sealing his coffin. Finally he gave up and let his head drop. "I have no objection." The court announced its ruling. The divorce was granted. Sole custody of both children was awarded to me. Victor would pay astronomical support and could see them only with my written permission, under strict limits. I'd won. Won clean. Won decisively. Sunlight greeted me as I stepped outside. I inhaled deeply. Even the air tasted of freedom. Victor ran after me and blocked my path. "Take the money. Take the company, I don't care," he said, eyes bloodshot like a gambler who'd lost his last chip. "Just give me back my kids. Give me back my family. Please, Stella." For the first time, he used the word please. I looked at him and almost laughed. "Victor, did you forget? You're the one who tore this family apart. And now you suddenly want it back. Too late." I stepped around him and headed for my car. Behind me came a choked sob. After I left Victor, my career soared. Armed with advanced insight into global economic trends, I led Paulari's capital into several future blockbusters. Within 6 months our valuation tripled. The name Stella became gold on Wall Street. At the victory gala Lucas grinned from ear to ear. "Stella, you're my lucky star. Poaching you from Victor was the best decision I ever made." I clinked glasses with him. "You gave me the platform." A tall, handsome young man approached, glass in hand, cheeks a little flushed. It was Rowan, the breakout idol starring in a film we'd backed. "CEO, thank you for believing in me," he said, eyes bright with gratitude. "Without you I'd still be an extra." "You earned it," I replied politely. He's a lot more innocent than Victor was at that age, I thought. Cameras caught our conversation. The next day the tags #Avery #Queen of Finance and her puppy rocketed up the trending list. In the photos Rowan and I looked cozy, almost intimate. I laughed at the tabloid fiction. Somebody, however, took it seriously. Victor. The story sent him over the edge. He stormed to Paulari's tower demanding to see me. I told my assistant to say I was busy. So he waited, morning to midnight. That night I worked late with Rowan and the film crew. We poured out of the lobby laughing. The moment Victor saw me exit with Rowan, The last thread of sanity snapped. He charged like a rabid animal and punched Rowan in the face. Rowan staggered, blood beading at his lip. "Victor, have you lost your mind?" I shouted. "I've lost my mind." He jabbed a finger at Rowan. "Who is he?" "Your new boy toy." "How long have we been apart, Stella?" "Couldn't wait to replace me." His accusations were absurd. I stepped in front of Rowan and stared Victor down. 1. Who I date is none of your business. 2. Even if I were dating, anyone beats being with human trash. 3. Apologize to Rowan now. Apologize. Victor sneered. "He's nothing to me." "Fine." I pulled out my iPhone, dialed 911. "Yes, assault in progress outside Paulari's capital on 7th Avenue. Suspect is Victor. ID number." I recited every digit while he watched, white-faced. He couldn't believe I'd go this far for an outsider. The patrol car arrived in minutes. Under a sky full of camera phones, the once untouchable Victor was cuffed and shoved into the back seat. Flashing lights painted his ashen face stark white. When Victor was released, something inside him had broken. He no longer blockaded my office, no longer barraged me with unhinged messages. He simply stood across the street from my apartment at dusk, a silent silhouette. He watched me take the kids to school, watched me come home, watched Lucas drop me off some evenings. He never stepped closer, never spoke, he only watched. That remorse in his eyes, thick enough to choke on. He thinks a grieving puppy act can melt me? Naive. I kept him invisible. My life had turned to a new chapter. He was merely a smudged ink blot on the page before. In autumn I took the children for a picnic in the suburbs. We flew a kite across the meadow, laughter carrying on the wind. I turned and saw him beneath a maple, windbreaker too thin for the chill. His gaze held a plea I'd never seen before. Logan noticed too. The string slipped from his fingers and the kite fluttered to earth. "Mom." Logan's voice trembled. I stroked his hair and whispered, "Don't be afraid. Mom's here." I took both children by the hand and walked straight toward Victor. When he saw us coming, his body stiffened and something like hope flickered in his eyes. He thought I was about to give him another chance. I stopped in front of him. "Victor." My tone was calm. "Stella." His voice shook as he stepped forward. "From now on, don't ever appear in front of us again." My icy words drenched him like a bucket of freezing water. The joy on his face froze. "Why?" he asked in disbelief. "I only wanted to see you. Your presence disturbs the children." I met his eyes without a trace of warmth. "You don't want them living in your shadow, do you?" He was speechless. "One more thing." I paused. "I've decided to accept Lucas's pursuit." That final straw crushed him. He lurched backward, swaying, as if every ounce of strength had been drained. "No, you can't." He mumbled. "Stella, you're mine. You can only be mine." The moment I signed the divorce papers, we became strangers. I shattered his last illusion. "Victor, face reality." I turned away without another glance, the children's hands still in mine. "Mom, aren't we waiting for him?" Lily asked softly. "No," I answered without looking back. "He took the wrong road, there's no coming back." Behind us, a strangled, heart-splitting sob broke loose, so desperate it sounded as though the world had abandoned him. I never turned around. Not one step. "Victor, the redemption you owe me, the 8 years you stole, pay for them with the endless regret that will stalk the rest of your life." After that day, Victor vanished. He never re-entered my world. Lucas told me he had resigned as CEO of Vance Industries, transferred all his equity to his mother, and locked himself inside the empty Vance estate. He saw no one, answered no calls. A living corpse. Ellis, who once kept my house, couldn't bear it and visited now and then. She whispered that the estate looked exactly as it had the day I left. My slippers, my teacup, everything in its old place. In the walk-in closet he had repurchased every garment I'd owned and rehung them, as though I'd merely stepped out for a moment. He spent his days on the master suite balcony, clutching our family photo, watching the sun climb and fall. "Mr. Vance is just skin and bones now," Ellis sighed. "Mrs. Vance, won't you go to him?" Go to him? To watch him romance his own grief? I declined, indifferent. "Ellis, don't mention him to me again. Some people once missed, are missed forever. I have neither time nor interest to witness a delayed apology. My life is full. The company soars, the children bloom. Logan has opened up, made friends at Riverside, and become class president. Lily is still my little shadow, proclaiming daily that Mom is the mightiest superhero. Lucas courts me openly. He remembers how I take my coffee, engineers perfect surprises, respects my work, and plays tag with the kids. He doesn't burn like wildfire the way Victor did. He's a hot spring, steady, soothing. One night he walked me home and asked quietly, "Stella, may I have a chance?" I studied his sincere eyes and didn't answer at once. I like him, but I'm no longer the girl who would rush headlong into flames. Lucas, I come with 2 children and a complicated past. I know, he cut in, gaze steady. I love the woman you are now, the decisive CEO, the tender mother. Your past shaped you. I treasure every part. In that instant my heart stumbled. Still I said, "Give me time." He smiled, all patience and understanding. "I'll wait." I climbed the stairs and, as I pushed open my door, glimpsed the ghost of the girl who had once hurled herself into darkness. Softly, I told her, "Stella, you're finally living for yourself." 2 years later, I led Chishing Capital to its IPO. On the bell-ringing day, I graced the cover of Global Finance as the youngest female CEO in Asia. I wore a crisp white suit, confidence shining in my smile. At my side, Lucas looked on with gentle pride. Our relationship is public, blessed by everyone. My children thrive in love and freedom. Logan is a sunny teenager. Lily grows more graceful each day. They call Lucas Cameron, and we feel like family. My life is a fairy tale come true. Victor has faded into urban legend. Word is he suffers severe depression and nervous exhaustion, swallowing prescription pills to sleep. He remains in that silent house, guarding the memory of someone who will never return, a walking ghost. Eleanor came to me several times, weeping, begging me to visit. "The doctors say I'm his disease and his cure," she claimed. I refused. Why should his illness draft me as medicine? I'm no martyr. The last time I saw him was a drizzly afternoon. I was waiting at a red light on the way to pick up the kids when I spotted a familiar silhouette in the bus shelter across the street. He wore the old trench coat I'd bought him years ago, now bleached by time. His back was bent, his hair grey. At 30-something he looked 60. Empty eyes tracked the traffic. He sensed my gaze and turned. Our eyes locked. A spark flared in his, then died, leaving only bottomless remorse. His lips parted, but the light turned green. I looked away and pressed the accelerator. In the rearview mirror his figure shrank, blurred, and vanished into the rain. I never looked back. Victor, I was once the light in your life. You snuffed it out yourself. Now I am my own sun, blazing high. You will dwell forever in the lightless void where I am not. That is the ending you earned. Thank you for listening. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate this story? If you liked the video, please like and share. We look forward to your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe for more tales. See you next time.